Welcome back to Season 2 of Sailing Sitka. We are Jay and Kenna, two young Canadians who stepped outside the box of comfort and decided to act on their ambitions of sailing around the world. We first set sail from Victoria, BC, Canada, and have been adventuring around Mexico ever since. In this season, we'll be sailing on, further south and closer towards our dreams of exploring everywhere the sea touches. So sit back, subscribe, and enjoy the ride. Hi everyone, thanks for popping in. If you don't know us, we are Jay and Kenna, two crazy kids who are currently refitting their Choily Offshore 41 in the Guaymas Boatyard here in Mexico. Last week, we were on a touch-and-go basis with multiple boat projects. One being a Gooseneck repair/installment, which is our second time fussing with this thing in 6 months, believe it or not. Another being thruhull prep, and also preparation for our new spinnaker pole attachment, which we are currently getting fabricated by a local welder. We have a lot on the go, but that's just the thing. We want to be playing around on the waves as soon as possible. So join us on this adventure of refitting our sailboat Sitka so we can get out sailing once again. Good morning, everyone. Day 2 for this Gooseneck project. Everything has cured, and we're on to step 2.
Pretty much right there.
Pretty much.
Yeah, and then we'll just fill
Little spots in.
Fill this in a bit.
Oh, it looks nice. Good job.
Well, I'll put thicken epoxy and then I'll put it in so it's
yeah.
gonna fit the exact.
Right.
And then I'll drill it after. Then I need to make more real quick. So.
If you caught last week's episode, you'll recall Jay saying that the point of this Gooseneck installment was for it to be sturdy and not purdy. We want this new bracket to be strong to the point that it'll never crack under strain again. After having multiple gooseneck failures at sea, you can understand that we are not in the market for another breakage. Therefore, we will do anything it takes to make sure it never happens again. Although this may seem messy to some, it just means that it's extra secure for us. So while we wait for the thickened epoxy to cure, it's on to another partially started project. We are about to install this thruhull.
Woo! Nobody's ever excited making holes in the boat. Okay, so that's the hole saw I need. This time is gonna be a lot easier than the last one you saw us put because there's no holes there already, so I don't need to like figure out a way to like center this hole saw. Basically this is your pilot hole and then it lines your hole up. So let's see. There you go. And then so this is gonna go right. Oh, thank God. The drill fits just barely.
Really?
Yeah. Very barely. Okay. So Kenna's gonna go down below and give you a view of this punching out from the hull. So let's get that going!
That's terrifying. Another hole. There's literally 4 right here in its whole row. It's like thruhull alley here.
Okay. That took long enough.
Oh yeah, it's like I have 6 minutes of you trying to drill this out. Ready?
Yeah. That seems pretty tight there.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so that's a perfect location. I can close the thruhull, open it, close, open it, close. Okay, so open, close. I might just be able to put 1 screw on there, which is not the end of the world, because it's gonna be 5200. Now we just need to sand this back to glass, and we'll 5200 that puppy in. And then this is where it exits the backing plate. Then I gotta give myself 5 threads to be ABYC compliant, so I'll give myself like 7, and then we'll cut that off there with the hacksaw.
Thruhull alley.
Yeah. Well, I prefer having them all in the same spot, so if you have a leak, you have like 1 or 2 compartments to open, not the entire boat. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here, we'll go right here's in between those lines. That's where we're gonna cut it. Okay, you ready, hon?
Yeah, go.
Tight? Okay, I think that's all she wrote there. Okay, you're good, hon? How does it look down there?
It's like gushing black.
Okay, perfect.
You still have your light on, you loser. It's all so much. There we go. Was nice and tight?
Yeah, super tight.
How are we looking?
Yeah, I think she's not going anywhere.
It's not going anywhere?
No. I'm gonna need to sand this too. We'll let that cure a bit more though. I mean, it's cured, but I said 2 o'clock, I think, was the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll let that cure more. I don't want to wreck it.
Nice.
Like I said, it's not, when we got this made, it wasn't going to look as pretty, but hopefully it'll never go anywhere. If it goes at this point, it's going to be the boom, not the bracket.
Yeah, true.
And we beefed it up quite a bit from marine grade plywood, then faired it out, and then there's a big thickened epoxy, well it's glue actually, it's 403 epoxy wet system in there, plus big stainless steel screws. It was a messy job and not in the ideal location. Like I would have liked to have that on like 2
stands.
Like, yeah, 2 stands, so we can work from like, you know, this height, not like all around like on your knees on non-skid. It was a nightmare.
It was pretty ghetto.
But the problem is, like, normally if we hadn't painted the hull yet, I would have just lowered it with a halyard, but the chance that this boom's really heavy and there's like scratchy metal parts everywhere, so the risk to reward ratio of like lowering this and like scratching the brand new top coat paint wasn't worth it to me.
Very true.
So yeah, so right now we're just gonna have early lunch because we're pretty much done everything, and like the through hull's done, this is done, and we're just waiting, and then we're gonna do seat-all the whole tow rail, which has never been done on Sitka. It's always been bare teak, but in the efforts we're trying to save it basically, because it's getting to a point where it gets way too dry out here in Mexico. In BC it was fine, but the sun's like just insufferable here for the teak, so
now
we're gonna
some little leaky leaks in it.
Yeah, so we're gonna give it a sand everywhere, and then we're gonna seat-all it. And then the good thing about seat-all is we only have to sand once. As long as you give a coat every day, you get a good enough chemical bond that you don't need to sand between coats, so that's the advantage. So we'll give 3 coats, and then that should be it. Okay, Roger, this one's for you. It's a lot of work. I hope you like it. We gotta sand this whole tow rail, so that's where it ain't sanded, and this is where it's sanded. Obviously the bottom isn't done, it's close to the paint, so I'll do it by hand. So sanding and seat-alling the tow rail. Once we finished sanding the tow rail, it was time to put up our extremely heavy wooden boom with our newly installed bracket. All seemed to be working perfectly with the Gooseneck, but of course the real test is when we sail this boat south down the Sea of Cortez. You'll have to stay tuned to find out if what we did will work in our favor. While doing so, the water guy decided to show up with potable water. So from one task to another, we started to fill our tank. Thank goodness too, because we were about several liters away from being completely dry. What up, people? We're freaking varnishing the tow rail. Seat-alling the tow rail. Yeah, so I've owned Sitka for 7 years. She's never seen varnish or seat-all, and she's just drinking it up right now. You can barely tell that we've done it, because like, well, you can tell here, but
she's so thirsty.
She's just drinking it.
She's just a thirsty girl.
We'll give her 3 coats there, 1 coat today and then 2 subsequent coats.
But look at that! This was a very tedious task and took a lot of time. So much that we were working well after the sun began to set. One trip around the boat, seat-hauling 8-foot sections at a time, took well over 2 hours to complete. I guess it's easy to say we definitely got a good day's work in, and it's time to call it quits. You guys, you probably can't even see us, but we literally just finished seat towing the tow rail. Like, and it's freaking dark. That took super long. Thank you for watching this week's episode of Sailing Sitka. Stick around for more to come. If you enjoyed, please spread the love and let us know. Special thank you to our Patreon members for making these videos possible, as well as helping our dreams come true. See you all next week.